Good evening, everyone. I would like to call to order the 218th town meeting of the town of Brookfield. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please join me as we observe a moment of silence for the townspeople who may have died in the last year and for our men in the service. Are there any new residents in the meeting tonight? I don't see anyone, so I guess we don't have any introductions tonight. Is there anyone present who is not a registered voter? If so, I will remind you that it's a misdemeanor to vote if you are not a registered voter. I would like to introduce our selectmen. Ernie Brown is our chairman. Bill Nelson is here. And Clifton Camp ran home to get his glasses. I understand he'll be back momentarily. We'll all recognize him when he comes up front.
Here he comes. Here he comes.
Brad has an announcement to make.
Quick announcement, so everybody notice the snow is no longer with us. Burn permits are now required. For those who think they do have a lot of snow in the yard and need a burn permit, call me. Otherwise, until the snow is getting very well. Thank you.
Thank you. Ernie, you had an announcement as well?
Jennifer Sonrecker, do you want to come up for a second?
You're down.
When you're trying to transition to a new website, it involves a lot of coordination. And some people in town work without a lot of pay. I think it is fair to do it. But the selectmen be sure to thank you for this card and this gift certificate. And then, I pardon the fancy graphic, but this is a town official.
For those of you who haven't checked out our website, it's very nice looking and it's very functional. I'm now going to remind you all of the rules of the town meeting. By state law, the moderator sets the rules and procedures of the meeting. We will not follow Robert's Rules of Order or any other complicated rules of parliamentary procedure. Instead, we will follow my rules. I cannot promise to run a perfect meeting, but I will do my best to run a fair meeting. Ultimately, though, this is your meeting. By majority vote, you can change my rules or overrule any decision that I make. Rules for debate. Only registered voters may speak unless a majority of the voters present decide otherwise. Those wishing to be recognized should raise their hands or stand. Once the moderator recognizes you, please state your full name. Only one person, the one recognized by the moderator, may speak at any one time. All speakers are expected to direct the debate to the moderator, and no conversations directed to others on the floor will be allowed. When you have the floor to speak, you should address the issue under consideration, or you may be ruled out of order. Any voter may question a procedural ruling by the moderator by asking to appeal the ruling to the body as a whole. A simple majority is required to overrule the moderator. Questions about the process are encouraged, as it may often seem confusing. But everyone should remember that debate leading to decision is the primary purpose of the meeting. Voting on articles. The moderator will not accept motions to call the question until, in his judgment, all have had a fair opportunity to express their views. The moderator will not accept motions to table or indefinitely postpone an article. If citizens want to dispose of an article, they should simply vote the article down. This prevents the confusion of people having to vote positively to dispose of an article. The moderator will only accept motions to pass over an article if more than one article on the warrant addresses the same question, and then only for the purpose of not confusing a decision reached by the meeting. Only one reconsideration of an article will be recognized. 7 voters are required to question my ruling on the outcome of a vote. If a voice vote is questioned, we will have a show of hands and/or a division of the House. If the vote remains in question, we will have a secret ballot. This must happen before any other business occurs. Amendments. Motions to amend an article must be in writing. The clerk will have paper and pencils. The moderator will allow consideration of no more than one amendment at a time. No motions to amend a motion to amend. I can't keep track of them. Amendments which simply negate the intent of the motion, such as inserting the word "not," will be ruled out of order as they confuse people as to which way they intend to vote. To repeat, if citizens want to dispose of an article, they should simply vote the article down. I did not print them in the bulletin this year. Would people like me to do so next year? I figured it would save the town some neck. Okay, not hearing otherwise, we'll continue to do it this way. I would like to announce the results of the elections. For selectmen, I declare Richard Zacher the winner with 96 votes. Congratulations, Richard. For moderator, I'm afraid you guys are going to have to put up with me for another 2 years. I won with 104 votes. For planning board, there were 2 open positions. I declare the winners are Gerald Ciccarone with 79 votes and Rob Collins with 4 votes. For cemetery trustee, Marilyn Bushman is the winner with 103 votes. For auditor, Marilyn Bushman is the winner with 102 votes. And for supervisor of the checklist, Adeline Rousseau is the winner with 103 votes. I declare those the results of the election. Ernie, would you like to move the first question on the warrant, the second question on the warrant, and then speak to it?
I would move the second article on the warrant. Do you want me to read it?
Yes, please.
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $500 to be added to the capital reserve fund known as the Scholastic Recognition Award Fund. The selectmen recommend this appropriation. Majority vote required. And if I can talk about it briefly, we actually have 2 scholarship funds.
Ernie, I think we need a second first. Would somebody like to second the motion?
Second.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have 2 separate scholarship funds. We give out 1 check each year to the top Brookfield student that graduates from Kingswood, and it's typically made up of money from each account. The first account, which has a present balance of $8,250, is the one where the selectmen have been gradually putting money in every year. And then a lot of the people in this town have been very generous in giving money to the scholarship fund, separate from what the town votes. And that account actually has $31,346. So the accounts are doing very well, and as the amounts increase, then the trustee of the trust funds can increase the level of scholarship as appropriate.
Good. Motion's been made and seconded. Is there discussion? Rob?
Robert Collins, 260 Stone Road. I'm not opposed to this. I think it's an okay idea. What I want to raise the concern that approximately, I don't know have exact numbers, but 25 to 30% of the students in this town are homeschooled and are not eligible for this reward. And I understand the complexity of trying to decide who's the best student between high school kids and homeschool kids. I understand that. There's a challenge there. But I would urge the selectmen to take on that challenge and try to include everybody that's in the town, not just the public school kids. And I'll also know that homeschoolers save this town a boatload of money by not sending their kids to the public school. It's like 8, 9, 10, you probably have that number. It's close to $10,000 in the neighborhood, $10,000 per student.
Per student.
And so we're doing this good thing for these students that we're already doing a lot of good things for, right? Maybe the homeschoolers are considered too. Thank you.
Dick?
Dick Peckham. I reinforce this item.
Any other comments in the back?
John Chambliss, Stone Road. I would like to add my support to what Rob just said as well.
Thank you.
Mark Pike, I used to be a trustee and was involved with this. The main problem is a standard. The awards are made on the basis of the 4-year highest point scholars.
There's a microphone for you if you'd like to take it.
I'm sorry. I'm not acquainted with how homeschoolers are evaluated. But if there were a recognized standard among them that was equivalent to the public school, I would think the trustees might be able to work something out. I don't know. But that has always been the issue, as to my knowledge. And it isn't only Kingsford, Brookfield has always been considered too, or any other private school student whose record is submitted to the trustees.
Any other comments? Seeing none, are you ready for the question?
Yes.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. I declare the motion passes. Clifton, you have the next warrant article.
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $1,000 to be added to the expendable trust fund known as the Town Building Office Equipment Fund. The selectmen recommend this appropriation. Majority vote required.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion.
Here's what's in there.
Clifton, you can go first.
Right. This account, or this fund, was set up in order to provide the selectmen the ability to purchase and replace office equipment as it got out of date, broke, needed repairs. There's currently $7,545 in this account. Our equipment's in pretty good shape, but our computer system, I believe our server needs to be updated this year or soon thereafter. So, leave it at that.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, are you ready for the question?
Yes.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The motion carries. Bill, the next one's on your shoulders.
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $5,000 for the expendable trust fund known as the Town Building and Grounds Maintenance Fund. The selectmen recommend this appropriation. Majority vote required.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Bill?
This fund is used for maintenance, painting the building, repairs to the oil burner, and it's been a traditional amount that we've been putting in, and believe me, it's been very useful as we have repairs on the buildings that need to be done. including painting, oil burners, braking, that type of thing.
Any further discussion? Go ahead, Eddie.
Ed Nason, Woodstock Road, just wondering what the balance in that account is.
Good question.
The balance in the account is $31,481. And as an example of what we use that money for, we in fact did some painting of the bell tower. We had blown-in insulation put in the ceiling here. We had 6 inches of fiberglass. We've now blown in 6 more inches on top. The ceiling here is now R38, with the curved portions being R30. So it's a substantial increase in the amount of insulation. And we had the Wakefield Fire Department come over with their thermal scanner and scan this building for heat loss when it was cold out. And other than the windows, it's doing pretty good.
The electric panels?
We
The
also
electric
replaced electrical panels both at the school and at the townhouse here. So again, this money is being used to comply with some safety issues, to improve the energy efficiency, and it's going to be an ongoing project working with the Heritage Commission.
Any further discussion? Please.
Adeline Russo, I have a question. As I was sitting here, Rosalie noticed some really big cracking in the plaster around here. Is anything planned to be done to keep this building maintained inside?
Is anyone here from the Heritage Commission who can answer that? Because I know we heard a report from them a few weeks ago. Yeah?
Oh, hi, my name is Mary McClain. Oh, no. I'll use my big girl voice. I am chairman of the Heritage Commission. Yes, we're aware of the cracks. As you're aware, last year the town did appropriate $10,000 for a survey and assessment of the townhouse to be done. The survey was done. It ended up costing us about $8,500 to $8,600, and the cracks are certainly one of the issues that we will be addressing in the future. We know that during certain times of the year, they're greater than other times, and it certainly is one of the issues. What the survey was able to give us is a timeline of work that definitely needs to be done to maintain the townhouse, and that's what we're hoping to put in place in the next few years.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, are you ready for the question? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The motion carries. Ernie, the next one's on your shoulders.
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $65,000 to be added to the Road and Bridge Repair Capital Reserve Fund. The selectmen recommend this appropriation. Majority vote required.
Does anyone wish to second Ernie's motion? Thank you. Go ahead.
We have a certain amount of money set aside for the Road and Bridge Repair Fund. At the present time, we have $88,361 in that fund. This $65,000 looks like it's going to build it up to be quite a bit of money. However, if you look at the next warrant article, from that fund, which we just hopefully will build up, we're going to take $75,000 out to work on the town roads for road improvement.
Any further discussion under this warrant article? Are you ready for the question? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The motion carries. Clifton, the next motion is yours.
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $75,000 for major repairs of town roads, to fund this appropriation by authorizing the withdrawal of said sum from the Road and Bridge Repair Capital Reserve Fund. The selectmen recommend this appropriation. Majority vote required.
Is there a second? Thank you. Clifton?
I would like to defer to Brad, who is the road committee chairman.
You good?
Yes, sir.
Would you like to speak to that? the projects?
Sure, be happy to. You'll find in the annual report, there is a report of the road commission. And basically, the selectmen have tasked us to survey the road, shall we say, on an annual or ongoing basis, and to maintain a long-term repair plan of the road. Every year we evaluate where the roads are, which ones we think need to be the next on the list for maintenance. Yes, all the roads need maintenance. But in the last 10 years, we've been able to get a lot of real pavement on and many of the roads and get them rebuilt. The committee's recommendation for this coming year is to work on the upper section of Whitewood Road, the paved section. The gravel section will not be touched. People look at that and say, well, why does that need to be worked on? That's a nice, smooth-looking road. It is smooth, and if you ride on it, it's not that rough. Potholes are not always the reason to repair a road. That section of the road is starting to get very rutted through the asphalt. It's starting to fail fairly quickly. Those ruts are what make it difficult to plow in the wintertime. You can't scrape the snow out of those. So that needs to be resurfaced. That's one of the recommendations. Another road that needs a lot of work is Stone Road. The pavement is breaking up on Stone. It doesn't have a good base in it in a lot of locations. And then if you go through the report, we'll see every year we recommend additional projects. We'd like to see somewhere in the area of $75,000 to $95,000 spent each year on roads on a long-term plan. And every year, to do that, we need to appropriate from that same money.
Any further discussion? Are you ready for the question then? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion carries. Bill, I think the next one is yours.
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $500 to be added to the conservation fund. The selectmen recommend this appropriation, majority vote required. This fund has one...
Is there a second? Thank you.
This fund has $1,000 in it. It was started several years ago, and with the idea that the conservation fund would have this money set aside should a particular piece of property or something needs to be done, they would have some funds that they could draw from to do it.
In the back.
John Chambers, I have a question for this. This money is to be used for what again? If someone wants to put their land in conservation?
No, I'm sorry. It's by the conservation committee to use if all of a sudden a piece of property comes up on somebody offers for $5,000 and they can buy a piece of property to put into conservation trust. It would belong to the town. They would have money to work with or something. Now, I'll let somebody else answer. Can you add to that?
Is there anybody from the Conservation Commission out here that would like to speak up to this? No?
John, you want to take it, or Peter say something?
Go ahead. I'd rather have somebody else.
This fund can be used in a variety of...
Dick, I think you're supposed to say who you are.
Oh, Dick Peckham. This fund can be used in a variety of facets, one of which, as Bill said, would be to buy a piece of property. The other use would be to help a person with their legal expenses, should they decide that they want to put their land in a conservation trust. So we, as a commission, could front some money to them for legal purposes. You might say, well, this is unfair in that the town is helping them to put their land in conservation trust. That's very true, but the object of having a conservation commission is to foster the acquiring of land in the town for conservation purposes so that that land can never be developed.
Good. Any further discussion to the motion? Go ahead.
Ed Comeau, 212 Stone. Will any of these monies be used in conjunction with fishing game without chip money to purchase land?
Is anyone prepared to answer that question? Go ahead, Dick.
Dick Becker again. As far as I know, this money would not be used to help a government agency acquire land. This would be for a private individual in the town in which the money is appropriated. Thank you.
Any further discussion? You ready for the question? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. Nay. The motion carries. Ernie, I think you have the next question.
Number 8, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $500 to be added to the Heritage Fund. The selectmen recommend this appropriation. Majority vote required.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
The fund at the present time has $1,500 set aside from previous meetings, and the Heritage Commission, it has a separate account. This money goes into their account for the Heritage Commission's use to promote issues involved with the Heritage Commission and things that might pop up which they would like to do. They don't have to go to the selectmen to do it. They have the money in the bank, very small amount, but it's there, and that's why we're gradually building it up so that the Heritage Commission can push forward on issues other than with town dollars if necessary.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, you ready for the question? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The motion carries. Clifton, you have number 9.
To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $1,400 to be added to the compensation of the town treasurer for services performed. This compensation is in addition to the $3,600 included in the operating budget article. If this article passes, $5,000 will be the compensation for the treasurer in the operating budget in 2012. The selectmen recommend this appropriation. Majority vote required.
Is there a second?
Second.
Clifton, you can speak to the article.
We have a wonderful town treasurer. She puts in lots of hours. She's improved the way that we are operating with our budget. She's brought it into line. She's been very instrumental, and like I said, she puts in a lot of hours, and she deserves the raise.
Any further discussion? Go ahead, Diana.
Diana Beckham, I'm tax collector, and I just want to second what Clifton said. She does a great job, and we need her real bad, so.
Virginia McGinley, I agree with all of that.
Okay. Any further discussion? Go ahead.
We're the auditors, and we agree with that.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Are you ready for the question?
Call the question.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The motion carries.
Thank you.
Bill, you have number 10.
Number 10, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $100 to be added to the compensation of the trustees of the trust funds for services performed. This compensation is in addition to the $350 included in the operating budget article. If this article passes, $450 will be the total compensation for the trustees of the trust funds in the operating budget for 2012. The selectmen recommend this appropriation. Majority vote required.
Is there a second? Second. Thank you. Would you like to speak to that?
Just a lot of work, and the $100 would be appreciated by the trustees of the trust fund.
Any further comments? You ready for the question? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. The motion carries.